All right, a lot of information on there in this problem. You can read through it. A lot of different numbers I'm going to have to use, but overall, they give me a formula right there. They give me a formula. All right, and we need to use this formula to determine the monthly payment, M, to the nearest dollar. The math part of it is making sure we plug in the right numbers in the right spots. And right numbers, right spots. So we're going to solve for M, so I need to know what R looks like, just R and N and P. All right, let's start with, ready? Let's start with P, amount borrowed. I know some of your eyes light up and you see, oh, the house cost $152,500. I'll plug that in for P. Keep reading. That's not the amount I'm going to borrow, is it?
No.
Why not?
It makes a $15,000 down payment.
Do we know what down payment?
Yes.
Okay, that's how much they. Don't give me that, Sarah. Sorry. All right. No. You should see. She's like, who do you think you are asking me that? All right. Yeah, the same guy that didn't know how to say constituents yesterday. All right.
Constitutions. You'll get it one day.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yep. That's correct. I'm not going to have 152.5. I'm going to put down 15,250. So go ahead, find out what P is going to be then. No, this is how much the house costs.
Yeah.
This is how much I'm putting down.
That's
So
like the initial payment, right? Like what they pay first.
correct. So P is the amount I need to borrow. I don't need to borrow this amount because I've already put that much in. So subtract them, correct? So the amount I need to borrow is actually $137,250. We okay on that? Why that's our P value?
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going. R for
The rate.
annual interest rate. All right, now we got to talk a little bit more math now. The interest rate's 3.6. No go. Absolutely not. We don't just plug percents in, we plug them in as a decimal. So I got to take that 3.6 and
Move with the decimal point.
move it over 2 spots, or just put it in your calculator and divide by 100 to be on the safe side. 0.036 divided by 12. Close it. 1 plus, we already know the rate, 0.036 divided by 12. Now here's slightly a little bit more math. Raised to the end. Total number of monthly payments I'm going to need. How are we going to figure that out? What other facts are up here?
Exponent.
That's going to be, yeah, I know it's going to be an exponent, but how do I figure out how many total monthly payments I'm going to make?
30-year mortgage.
Okay, it's 30 years.
So 30 times.
Not 30 though, right?
30 times.
How many monthly payments? So take 30 and multiply it by
360.
12. Everyone see where that's coming from? How many monthly payments? 30 years, 12 months in a year. 360 total payments over. Now it's just, we know all their values now. 1 plus 0.036 over 12 raised to the 360 minus 1. Anybody freaked out that they have to figure out what that's equal to?
No.
I mean, no.
I mean, we do have fraction templates on the calculator, and we can literally plug it in just as it is right now. Yes, Libby.
So like, is it always going to be MPRN?
I have no idea. This is just
Okay, so it's not like those aren't like variables that we're going to have to like memorize.
No. They'll give you the form. There is a couple formulas we're gonna have to remember.
So is it going to have that thing, or is this just like a sample?
This is just a problem they want you to plug it into.
So it's always
That's
going to have the like equals this. And
Correct. Yes. All right. So go ahead. Let's see if we can do it. Yes, Sarah.
Cross out. Like the 1 plus 0.036.
No. Because here's why. This is a totally different value here. Minus. It's kind of like this. You're gonna cross out the x's. You better not, because you won't have a right hand to write with anymore. Good? Okay, great. You don't have to cross out the x's, right? So I wouldn't cross them out here.
Numbers off.
Okay?
Oh my god, I forgot to put a thing.
And then we're rounding to the nearest dollar.
Oh my god, I'm so bad. Never mind.
How much are they going to have to pay a month here?
$624.
$624.
I was so excited to get it. I got it. Oh, yeah.
We're having some calculator issues.
Yeah. Where did I type it from?
Is this a negative one or a minus one? You're going to want to put minus one. Okay? Because if it's negative one, that's going to multiply it by negative one. That's exactly right. Okay. Any other issues? We good? Because I want to go on to the stats part here today. All set?
It didn't change.
Try this now. You see that part there? Actually, put that as a fraction. And no, never mind. That's 137.250.
What's wrong?
Yeah.
I want to clear my throat. It's gonna be gross.
And you don't even need to add the code. Just put 137.250. Okay.
I told you it was gonna.
Hey, just a reminder. There it is. 26. Okay. Hopefully. They may raise it this year. I don't know. They may lower it. I don't know. But that's where we're
I
at.
think they should do this.
Okay. But it's not a joke, though. It's not going to be cake. You still got to get 26 points somehow. All right. So keep that in mind.
I mean, I did it. How many questions is the whole thing?
37?
Oh, we're doing 37.
No, 37
How long is
questions.
it? 2 hours?
3 total.
Oh wow.
You can
So long.
you can leave 2. You
After
can leave
2?
after 2. Yeah. Yeah, correct.
Well, they're probably gonna have some real
Sarah.
cookies.
You get 3 hours to take it. You can leave after 2.
After that's 504, is it like
It's
504?
Yeah, I think so.
I
Yeah.
have a
Yeah.
ADHD.
So you go.
Oh,
So you
I
can go.
thought you
Yeah,
told
you
me
go after everybody.
No.
After everybody's done. Never mind.
That would be in a separate.
All right, all good. All right, put it away. Stats. Here we go. Let's get to the stats part.
No, it's the secret. It's the secret alphabet A2B unit. No, I really. No, it's an ADHD thing. I'll keep it in my. It's in my file. It's fine. It's fine. I'm so sorry.
All right, Thursday, you got your quiz on day 1, 2, and 3. Today's day 2. Yesterday, sample and population. Survey versus controlled experiment versus observational study. And then the last thing we did yesterday was let's find the mean and median on our calculator. I introduced you to all the lists and one variable stats, which we will still stay there today. Any issues on those yesterday? Any issues finding them? Here's what I'm going to show you today. How do I figure out how spread out my numbers are? Okay. Is there a wide range? They're all packed in together? Couple different ways I can do it. First one you guys are familiar with was what's called the range. How do I find the range of scores? I take the highest one and I subtract it from the lowest one. So in this one right here, highest one is 98 minus the lowest one, 68. So this right here tells me my scores are 30 points apart. Which for me, as a teacher, I'm like, I don't know how reliable that is. Because what happens if the highest score is kind of like an outlier? Nobody else got close to it. So I don't know really how reliable knowing that my scores are 30 apart. Because usually if it's that high, that tells me it was a pretty bad test. All right, I like my scores all packed in. Everyone's getting the same type of result. So we got to use something different then. Let's try what's called the interquartile range. Interquartile range. That tells me where the middle 50% is. All right, how far apart are the middle 50? And the way we calculate it is we take quartile 3 and minus quartile 1. Where are those numbers going to be found? 1var stats. 1var stats. That's where Q3 and Q1 are going to be found. Good. Grab your calculators. Let's pretend I wasn't here yesterday. I don't even know what the heck to do. What do I do here? Go to stat. Stat. Edit, you say. Oh, I have numbers in there.
Delete them. Clear them.
How?
Clear enter. Highlight L2.
Highlight your list. Clear, enter. Clear, enter. Take your time. We talked yesterday. You guys are going to type these in as fast as you text, but this doesn't have autocorrect on the calculator. Take your time. Double-digit numbers easily become triple digits.
This is just in the first column, right?
Yeah, I don't need, there's no frequency, right?
Yeah.
So only L1, 51, 75, 75 again, 77, 81, 82, 84, 86, 87, 90, 91, 92, 96, 99. And another very quick check to make sure you're typed them in correctly. Count how many there are real quick. How many did you just put in there, or should have put in there? There's 15 numbers listed on your packet. And again, look at this next blank one says you should be on the 16th entry. Perfect. All right, I just did 15. All right, where do I go from here now? Stat. Over to calculate. This is where we're going to stay. Now, I only have it in one list, right? So there's no reason for me to tell the calculator, look in list 2, clear that out. Calculate. We know X bar was what from yesterday? The mean. If I scroll down, I get the median. Now we got some new values today. Everyone see Q1? That means the first 25% scored 77 or below. And then you can go to median, Q3. There they are.
What does Q1 and Q3 mean?
7, that means if you scored a 77, that means only 25% of the students scored below you. If you scored a 92, that means 75% of the students who scored, or whoever took the test, scored below you. Okay? So
that's what you look for when it says like the interquartile?
Interquartile range is going to be Q3 minus Q1. So we're going to go 92 minus 77. So that tells me the middle 50% of the scores, or the kids who took it, their scores are 15 apart. Still a pretty big gap, I guess. All right. So is there something else, one last thing that maybe can narrow this down for me, that I can look at and can tell how close or how far apart all my scores are? And this is where we're going to be most of the day today, and that's on standard deviation. Standard deviation. Let me bring my 1var stat screen in here. All right, there's two types of standard deviations, two types. It's going to kind of be similar to yesterday. There's population, OX. If you take a look at my screen, or if you still have yours up, everyone see OX. That is population standard deviation right there. That's the standard deviation for the population. And then there's a second one. Remember yesterday we had population, or we take a smaller piece and have it the sample. And that's S of X right here. Sample standard deviation. I'm going to make it real easy for you guys. If the problem does not specify which one to use, we're using population standard deviation. Okay? If the problem does not specify which one to use, we're going to always use the population, OX here. All right. Last thing I'd like you to just jot down about the standard deviation. The smaller this number is, the closer the scores. Okay? The smaller the standard deviation, the closer the scores are. Because standard deviation is the spread, all right? The spread of the numbers. So the smaller that number is, the closer the scores are. Whew. Questions? Let's keep using this standard deviation concept. Read number 1 here for me. I got 2 sets of numbers, A and B. Believe it or not, if you look at them, they do have the same mean. Even though one looks completely different than the other, right? They have the same mean. No calculator, no lists. Can you tell me which one's going to have the smaller standard deviation? Without even calculating it. Without even calculating it, can we look at it and figure out which one's going to have the smaller standard deviation?
B.
Why are we all saying B?
Because the numbers are closer.
There we go. The smaller the standard deviation, the closer the scores. I think it's pretty obvious. Set B has the closer scores. There you go. So set B because scores are closer together.
So you just mean closest to like value, right?
Correct. Correct. All right, now let's introduce the Miller and the Lopez family. Miller family's got 3 kids. Those are their ages. Lopez has 4 with their ages. Before we even start, who do you think is going to have the smaller standard deviation here when we find it? Actually find it. All right, let's figure it out. Okay, we got to calculate the mean and the standard deviation. Whoa! Does it specify which one, sample or population?
No.
Nope, so that means we're going to find the population. There you go, we're picking it up. How do I do this?
Put it in stack.
Oh, put it in the list. Yeah, let's do Miller's first. Let's do the Miller clan here.
Oh, the clan.
You know what I mean, Maddie. Relax, all right?
Sorry, guys. Just making sure.
Crew, sorry, better. Squad. There you go.
Should we put just
Posse.
one in at a time?
Besties.
What do you mean?
We use both
If we
levels?
do L1 and
So like my mom and stuff.
Okay, look, hey, if you want, Emily just asked, do we have to do one at a time or can we put them in both? You can put them in both, Emily, but when you go to 1-bar stats, you got to have L1 only. Do that and then do L2, but I would probably prefer you just do it. Yeah, I'll just do it in one list. Thank you. So 10, 12, 14, stat, calculate, 1-bar stats. L1, perfect. Okay, so the median is 12. The average, the mean is 12. Let's go nearest 10th here. Standard deviation.
1.6.
Notice how small that number is. Why?
Because they're close together.
You're darn right.
Yeah.
So hopefully our prediction when we find out the Lopez standard deviation will be more than 1.6. So let's do it for the Lopez. Six, 7, 12, 15. Stat, calc, 1-bar stats, boom, boom. All right, so mean of 10, and shockingly, their population standard deviation 3.7 if I go nearest 10. Yeah, a little bit bigger than the Millers, which would what we predicted. So I just wanted to show you using actual numbers that this is true. And then let's just answer a quick question here. Based on this, what conclusion can be made in regard to the age and spread? What can you tell me about the Miller family ages versus the Lopez
The
family?
Miller family ages are closer.
There you go. Miller family ages are close, or Miller kids are closer in age.
Do you have to say anything about the average?
No, nope. I just want review from yesterday, Ma. Okay.
A, B, C, D, E, F.
Holy jeez, yeah. Any questions about standard deviation, how it works, where to find it on the calculator? We do have one big example left before I let you go to the assignment. Oh, geez, yeah. Calculator does all the work. I know, such a rough life. Delmar, first world problems. Here we go. You guys know where to put these numbers now. Watch yourself as you're typing.
Yeah, I keep doing it wrong. Well, that's a problem.
Then, yeah, fix that. Okay, believe in you. No, I wrote A4. That's not very common.
Okay, I think I did it wrong. I swear to God, if I get different numbers than everyone else, roll up.
Just quick check.
Okay, I did it.
Remember, when you go to one var stats, you are going to have to put L2 in. Where is L2 again? Thank you. Second 2. I'll let everyone catch up.
What'd you get for the average, guys?
All right, we're ready to interquartile range. Yep. So again, I just abbreviated IQR, interquartile range. Quartile 3 minus quartile 1. And hopefully everyone got 88 and 65. 88 minus 65. I don't. You got to use these, man. I don't
My nose is bleeding. Out of nowhere.
This is going to make for an awesome recording today, everything we've been talking about. So I'm glad people who are listening that were absent. Okay.
Well, I don't, never mind.
Go ahead.
No.
We're not getting those on the calculator?
No, I am.
What is it equal?
Sorry.
What's the question?
I know I didn't have one. I was waiting for you to give that answer. I don't want to hear.
I got you. You don't. Yeah, I got it. I got it. I do the same thing. All right. Question. Hey, and this is, you hate it, but this is why I harp on it so much to check your darn numbers in your list. I can't give much partial credit on these type of questions, if any. So you start throwing up numbers that don't match mine, I can't give you partial credit. It's because probably one of your numbers was wrong in your list. And that's going to throw off everything. All right, I can't give much partial credit here because your answer is just a number off your calculator. So remember that. Take your time. How about the mean? 79.5. All right, we're going all right so far. And then part C, population. I do specify there. Population to the nearest 10th. 11.7. Okay?
Wait, is population the OX?
Correct. SX is sample. All right, now we got some new stuff here. Everyone roll through those first 3. Now, I'm going to have you use the mean and the standard deviation together. How many of these scores fall within 1 standard deviation of the mean? Let's talk. What the heck does that mean? Within 1 standard deviation of the mean. All right, well, what was the mean? What was the mean?
79.
All right, 79.5. I want to know how many fall within 1 standard deviation. What was the standard deviation? What was it? 11.7. So what I'm going to do, let me do it first and explain it. To fall within 1, I am going to add 11.7 to the mean. So go ahead, add 79.5 and 11.7. Let me know what you get. 91.2. And on the other side, I'm also going to subtract the standard deviation. Look, this is a standard deviation, 11.7. Another standard, this is within one standard deviation right here. Add and subtract it. And what do I get on the other side? 67.8. So any score that's between 67.8 and 91.2 will be within one standard deviation of the mean.
So how do you write that?
What do you mean, how do I write it?
Is that it?
This is, well, I haven't fit, that's not my answer though. It says how many scores fall between this. So I need to figure out how many scores are between those. But I got to figure out my boundaries. So I subtract one standard deviation and add it. How can I figure out? You guys tell me what else is in this problem that can help me figure out how many scores are between here. The darn table. Would 65 count? Would that be within one? Nope. 74?
Yes.
79?
Yes.
Whoop. 85?
Yes.
88?
Yes.
94?
No.
All right, I'm going to stop. But my answer is not 4 scores. No, it's not.
You add up.
Somebody tell me, you know what a frequency table is. How many 74s do I have? Not 1, but 3, right? So my answer here is not 4 of them. I got to add up how many of them there are. So I got 3, 8, 3, 5, 4, and 3. I'll let you do it.
It's 15.
What do I have?
I added the easiest one. I mean 7, then I added 3, and then oh wait.
15 scores?
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. I did it in my head.
8,
so I would check.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Yeah, I got 7, then I added 3 to make 10,
Or
and
is
then
it
I added
6?
5.
You lost me at 9. Okay.
I might need to move your seat.
To go where?
I don't know, but I think every class my IQ goes down a few points. All right? Too harsh? Too harsh.
Might just need to like.
Valuable oxygen
Don't you
is being
think I'm
wasted right
learning
now.
better up front?
Valuable oxygen. 15 scores, we good? And then I got the goof troop back there playing up and down desks over there. That's real cute with the goof troop back there. Next up, kind of combine this unit with the previous unit. What's the probability I pick a score within one? Probability. Not bigger than 1. No negatives. How many are already within 1? How many scores are within 1? We did the work already.
15. No. Sorry.
How many scores are within 1? 15. Probability is always out of.
100.
Well, it would be 100 if I had 100 scores, but I don't.
Out of. We have to add up.
All right. Yep. Okay. Hey, wait. There's a couple ways I could figure out what the total is. I could count up the entire frequency. I could read the beginning of the problem. Or, in all seriousness, if you go back to your 1-bar stats, you have an n equals on there. That tells you how many values total you put into your list. Okay, if you ever need that. That's always a total right there, n equals. So 3 different ways we could get it. So 15 out of 30 or 1/2, yes. Let's see how well we did here on this last one. Find the percent. Let's read this one now. That fall more than 1 above the mean. How many scores? Now remember, this is within 1. Now I want to know how many scores fall of 1 above the mean. So what do you think? I need scores that are what? Oh, good. Higher than? Higher than which score? 91.2. Because remember, this is 1 above the mean, so I want anything more than that. So go ahead, count them up.
6.
6. Read the question though. I didn't say how many scores, right? I want it as a percent. 6 out of 30 as a percent.
0.2.
So 20%. Within 1, subtract and add your standard deviation within 1. Have a Chromebooks out. Let's go. Plenty of time to practice and finish. Plenty of time.
I've been killing it.